Your thoughts become things, so choose them wisely. Introduction.
Welcome. I'm Dr. Julian Vance, and in this journey, I'll be your voice, your mirror, and your reminder of the truth you've always known deep down. You're the architect of your life. The law of attraction is not some magical wish-granting idea. It is a timeless principle rooted in energy, psychology, and human potential. This book uncovers how your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions act as the blueprint for everything you attract, both the blessings and the blocks. Through deep psychological insights, powerful visualization techniques, and symbolic illustrations, you'll understand how to break free from scarcity, tap into your true frequency, and create the life you were born for. We'll talk about money, love, health, purpose, self-image, and faith, not just how to desire them, but how to align your inner world so that they flow toward you. You'll learn why most people never receive what they want, and how to shift from wishing to manifesting. This is more than a book. It's a blueprint, a call to awaken, and I'll be with you every step of the way. Chapter 1. Thought is power. The frequency of your mind. In the quiet moments between your conscious thoughts lies a truth that ancient wisdom and modern science are beginning to converge upon. Every thought you think sends out a frequency into the universe. This isn't mystical thinking. It's the recognition that your mind operates as both a transmitter and receiver, constantly broadcasting signals that shape the reality you experience. When you understand this fundamental principle, you begin to see that your thoughts aren't just private mental events, but active forces that influence your circumstances, relationships, and opportunities. The frequency of your thoughts works much like a radio station. Just as a radio broadcasts on specific wavelengths that can be tuned into by receivers, your mind broadcasts on frequencies that attract corresponding experiences. When you consistently think thoughts of lack, limitation, and fear, you're essentially tuning into a frequency that brings more of those experiences into your life. Conversely, when you align your thoughts with abundance, possibility, and growth, you begin to attract circumstances that match that energetic signature. The architecture of mental patterns. Your current reality is the physical manifestation of your predominant thought patterns. These patterns didn't form overnight. They're the result of years of conditioning, experiences, and repetitive thinking that have created neural pathways in your brain. Neuroscience tells us that neurons that fire together wire together, meaning that the thoughts you think most often become the default programming of your mind. This programming operates largely in silence, beneath the surface of your conscious awareness, yet it's constantly influencing your perceptions, decisions, and actions. Consider how your mental patterns shape your daily experience. If you wake up each morning with thoughts of dread about the day ahead, you're programming your mind to notice and attract experiences that confirm this expectation. Your brain, wired for survival, will scan your environment for potential threats and problems, often overlooking opportunities and positive possibilities. This isn't a character flaw. It's simply how your mind has been programmed to operate. The remarkable news is that this programming can be changed. The process of rewiring your mental patterns begins with awareness. Most people go through life unconscious of their thought patterns, running on autopilot programs that were installed in childhood or during significant emotional events. These patterns feel natural and true because they've been repeated so often, but they're not necessarily accurate reflections of reality. They're simply the lens through which you've learned to view the world. Breaking free from fear-based thinking. Fear-based thinking is perhaps the most destructive force when it comes to manifesting the life you desire. It operates on the frequency of scarcity, limitation, and danger, constantly scanning for what could go wrong rather than what could go right. This mental pattern creates a self-fulfilling prophecy where your fears become the very experiences you attract. The person who constantly worries about losing their job often finds themselves in situations that threaten their employment. The individual who fears rejection in relationships often behaves in ways that push others away. Fear-based thinking is rooted in the primitive survival mechanisms of your brain, which evolved to keep you safe from physical threats. While this served our ancestors well in dangerous environments, it's largely counterproductive in modern life. Your brain can't distinguish between a genuine physical threat and an imagined future scenario, so it responds to both with the same stress response. This means that when you spend time thinking about what you don't want to happen, you're actually creating the same physiological and energetic state as if those events were currently occurring. To break free from fear-based thinking, you must first recognize it for what it is, a habit of mind that can be changed. This doesn't mean ignoring legitimate concerns or failing to plan for challenges. Rather, it means shifting from a mindset of what if something goes wrong to what if everything goes right. This simple shift in perspective changes the frequency you're broadcasting and begins to attract different experiences into your life. The silence between thoughts. In your journey to harness the power of thought, you'll discover that the spaces between your thoughts are just as important as the thoughts themselves. In these moments of silence, your mind is most receptive to new possibilities and insights. It's in the quiet spaces that inspiration strikes, solutions emerge, and clarity dawns. This is why meditation and mindfulness practices are so powerful. They help you access these gaps and expand them. The silence between thoughts is where true transformation occurs. It's in these spaces that you can observe your thought patterns without being caught up in them. You begin to see that you're not your thoughts. You're the conscious awareness that observes them. This recognition is profoundly liberating because it means you have the power to choose which thoughts to engage with and which to let pass by. Working in silence, as the title of this book suggests, isn't about suppressing your thoughts or forcing your mind to be quiet. It's about developing a conscious relationship with your thinking process. When you can observe your thoughts with detachment, you gain the ability to direct them intentionally rather than being at their mercy. This skill is essential for anyone serious about using the law of attraction to create positive change in their life. Rewiring your mental operating system. The process of rewiring your mind begins with the recognition that your current thought patterns are not permanent fixtures. They're learned behaviors that can be unlearned and replaced. Just as you can upgrade the software on your computer, you can upgrade the mental programming that runs your life. This process requires patience, consistency, and gentle persistence, but the results are transformative. The first step in rewiring your mental operating system is to become aware of your current programming. This means paying attention to the thoughts that arise automatically throughout your day, especially in challenging situations. Notice the internal dialogue that runs when you face obstacles, interact with others, or contemplate your future. Many people are shocked to discover how negative and limiting their automatic thoughts actually are. Once you've identified your limiting thought patterns, you can begin to consciously replace them with more empowering alternatives. This isn't about positive thinking or denial. It's about choosing thoughts that align with the reality you want to create. If you catch yourself thinking, "I never have enough money," you might replace that thought with, "I am learning to attract abundance in all areas of my life." The key is to choose replacement thoughts that feel authentic and believable to you. The language of abundance. The words you use in your internal dialogue have tremendous power over your experience. Language shapes thought, and thought shapes reality. When you consistently use words like can't, impossible, never, and always in limiting contexts, you're programming your mind to see obstacles rather than opportunities. Conversely, when you begin to use language that assumes possibility and growth, you open your mind to new potential. Abundance thinking isn't about pretending that challenges don't exist or that you can have anything you want without effort. It's about approaching life from a mindset of sufficiency rather than scarcity. It's the recognition that there are enough resources, opportunities, and love to go around. This shift in perspective changes how you relate to others and how you pursue your goals. The language of abundance includes words and phrases like, "I am learning," "I am growing," "opportunities are everywhere," and "I trust the process." These phrases program your mind to look for evidence of growth and possibility rather than evidence of limitation and lack. Over time, this shift in internal language begins to attract different experiences into your life. Cultivating growth-oriented thinking. Growth-oriented thinking is the antidote to fixed mindset patterns that keep you stuck in limitation. When you adopt a growth mindset, you see challenges as opportunities to learn and develop rather than threats to avoid. This perspective transforms your relationship with failure, setbacks, and obstacles. Instead of seeing them as evidence that you're not capable or deserving, you begin to view them as valuable feedback that helps you refine your approach. The growth mindset recognizes that abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication and hard work. This belief creates a love of learning and resilience that are essential for great accomplishment. When you truly believe that you can improve and grow, you're more likely to take on challenges, persist through difficulties, and ultimately achieve your goals. Cultivating growth-oriented thinking requires you to become comfortable with uncertainty and change. Instead of trying to control every outcome, you learn to trust the process and remain open to unexpected opportunities. This doesn't mean being passive or aimless. It means holding your goals lightly while taking consistent action toward them. The power of focused intention. Your thoughts become most powerful when they're focused and intentional rather than scattered and reactive. Most people's minds are like a garden that's never been tended, full of weeds, negative thoughts, and lacking the beautiful flowers, positive thoughts, that could flourish with proper care. When you learn to focus your mental energy on what you want to create rather than what you want to avoid, you begin to see remarkable changes in your life. Focused intention involves getting clear about what you truly want and then aligning your thoughts consistently with that vision. This isn't about obsessing over outcomes or trying to force things to happen. It's about maintaining a clear direction for your mental energy while remaining open to how your desires might manifest. The universe often delivers what you want in unexpected ways, so flexibility is essential. The practice of focused intention requires you to regularly examine your thoughts and redirect them when they veer off course. This becomes easier with practice, much like strengthening a muscle. The more you consciously choose your thoughts, the more natural it becomes to think in alignment with your goals and values. Transforming your relationship with challenges. One of the most profound shifts that occurs when you understand the power of thought is how you relate to challenges and obstacles. Instead of seeing them as evidence that you're on the wrong path or that success isn't meant for you, you begin to recognize them as opportunities to strengthen your mental discipline and refine your approach. This perspective transforms challenges from roadblocks into stepping stones. When you encounter a setback, your response determines whether it becomes a permanent obstacle or a temporary redirection. If you immediately spiral into thoughts of failure and limitation, you're likely to create more of the same. But if you can maintain your focus on growth and possibility, you often discover that the challenge contains valuable lessons or opens doors you hadn't considered. This shift in perspective doesn't happen overnight, but it's perhaps the most valuable skill you could develop. It allows you to maintain your momentum even when things don't go according to plan. You begin to trust that everything is working out for your highest good, even when you can't see the bigger picture. The ripple effect of transformed thinking. As you begin to consistently choose thoughts that align with abundance and growth, you'll notice that the changes extend far beyond your internal experience. Your transformed thinking creates a ripple effect that influences every area of your life. Your relationships improve because you approach others with greater openness and positivity. Your career advances because you're more willing to take calculated risks and pursue opportunities. Your health improves because you're no longer chronically stressed by worst-case scenario thinking. This ripple effect occurs because your thoughts influence your emotions, which influence your actions, which influence your results. When you think thoughts of possibility and abundance, you feel more optimistic and energized. This emotional state leads to actions that are more aligned with your goals. These actions produce better results, which reinforce your positive thinking, creating an upward spiral of improvement. The people around you will also begin to respond differently to your transformed energy. Humans are remarkably sensitive to the energy others broadcast, even if they're not consciously aware of it. When you consistently think thoughts of abundance and growth, you radiate a different frequency that others find attractive and inspiring. This can lead to new opportunities, stronger relationships, and unexpected support for your goals. Maintaining your new mental patterns. The journey of transforming your thought patterns is not a destination, but an ongoing practice. Like maintaining physical fitness, mental fitness requires consistent attention and effort. The patterns you've carried for years won't disappear overnight, and you'll likely find yourself slipping back into old habits from time to time. This is normal and expected. The key is to gently redirect your thoughts without judgment when you notice you've wandered off course. Developing sustainable mental patterns requires creating systems and practices that support your new way of thinking. This might include daily meditation, journaling, affirmations, or simply taking regular moments throughout the day to check in with your thoughts. The specific practices matter less than the consistency with which you engage in them. Remember that this work is not about achieving perfection, but about making progress. Each time you choose a thought of abundance over one of lack, each time you focus on growth rather than limitation, you're strengthening the neural pathways that support the life you want to create. These small choices compound over time, creating significant transformation in your experience of life. The continuous journey of conscious creation. As you develop mastery over your thought patterns, you'll discover that conscious creation becomes a way of life rather than a technique you occasionally use. You'll find yourself naturally thinking in ways that support your goals and values. You'll become more aware of the connection between your internal state and your external circumstances. You'll develop the ability to maintain your equilibrium even in challenging situations. This journey of conscious creation through thought is perhaps the most important skill you can develop. It affects every aspect of your life and determines the quality of your experience. When you truly understand that thought is power, you realize that you have far more control over your life than you might have previously believed. This realization is both empowering and humbling. It means you can create positive change, but it also means you must take responsibility for what you've created up to this point. The path forward is clear. Begin where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. Every thought is an opportunity to align with the life you want to create. Every moment of awareness is a chance to choose thoughts that serve your highest good. The power has always been within you. Now you have the knowledge to use it consciously and effectively. In the silence of your focused attention, miracles of transformation await. Chapter 2. Emotion is the magnet, the hidden power behind your desires. While desire plants the seed of what you want to manifest, emotion is the water that makes it grow. Most people focus solely on visualizing their goals, repeating affirmations, or taking action without understanding that emotion is the true magnetic force that draws experiences into your reality. Your emotional state doesn't just influence your manifestation, it is your manifestation. When you feel broke, you attract more circumstances that make you feel broke. When you feel abundant, you magnetize abundance. This is why two people can follow the same manifestation techniques, yet achieve completely different results. The vibrational language of the universe. The universe doesn't understand your words, your thoughts, or your actions in the way you might expect. It responds to your emotional vibration, the energetic frequency you emit based on how you feel. Every emotion carries a specific vibrational signature that acts like a radio station broadcasting your desires. When you feel grateful, you're broadcasting on the frequency of abundance. When you feel worthy, you're transmitting on the channel of self-love and respect. The universe simply matches whatever frequency you're consistently emitting, delivering experiences that align with your emotional state. Why desperation repels what you want most? Desperation is perhaps the most counterproductive emotion in manifestation because it carries the vibration of lack. When you desperately want something, you're actually focusing on not having it, which creates resistance to receiving it. Desperation breeds anxiety, attachment, and fear, all of which generate negative momentum that pushes your desires away. Think of desperation as emotional quicksand. The more you struggle and fight for what you want, the deeper you sink into the feeling of not having it. The magnetic power of gratitude. Gratitude is one of the most powerful emotions for manifestation because it places you in the vibration of already having received. When you feel genuinely grateful, you're acknowledging abundance in your life, which naturally attracts more abundance. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's present, creating an energetic state of fulfillment that the universe responds to by bringing more experiences worthy of gratitude. This is why people who practice daily gratitude often report sudden improvements in their circumstances. They've tuned into the frequency of abundance through appreciation. Joy, the ultimate manifestation accelerator. Joy is the highest vibrational emotion you can maintain for manifestation. When you feel joyful, you're in perfect alignment with the creative force of the universe. Joy doesn't require external circumstances to exist. It's an internal state of being that attracts joyful experiences. People who manifest quickly often report that their biggest breakthroughs came when they stopped forcing outcomes and simply focused on feeling good. This is because joy removes all resistance and allows the universe to deliver in the most effortless way possible, building unshakable self-worth. Self-worth is the foundation upon which all successful manifestation is built. If you don't believe you deserve what you're asking for, you'll unconsciously sabotage your own success. Self-worth isn't about arrogance or superiority. It's about recognizing your inherent value as a human being. When you feel worthy, you naturally expect good things to happen to you, which creates the energetic conditions for them to manifest. Building self-worth requires consistent self-compassion, celebrating small wins, and treating yourself with the same kindness you'd show a dear friend. Chapter 2. Emotion is the magnet, the hidden power behind your desires. While desire plants the seed of what you want to manifest, emotion is the water that makes it grow. Most people focus solely on visualizing their goals, repeating affirmations, or taking action without understanding that emotion is the true magnetic force that draws experiences into your reality. Your emotional state doesn't just influence your manifestation, it is your manifestation. When you feel broken, you attract more circumstances that make you feel broken. When you feel abundant, you magnetize abundance. This is why two people can follow the same manifestation techniques, yet achieve completely different results. The vibrational language of the universe. The universe doesn't understand your words, your thoughts, or your actions in the way you might expect. It responds to your emotional vibration, the energetic frequency you emit based on how you feel. Every emotion carries a specific vibrational signature that acts like a radio station broadcasting your desires. When you feel grateful, you're broadcasting on the frequency of abundance. When you feel worthy, you're transmitting on the channel of self-love and respect. The universe simply matches whatever frequency you're consistently emitting, delivering experiences that align with your emotional state. Why desperation repels what you want most? Desperation is perhaps the most counterproductive emotion in manifestation because it carries the vibration of lack. When you desperately want something, you're actually focusing on not having it, which creates resistance to receiving it. Desperation breeds anxiety, attachment, and fear, all of which generate negative momentum that pushes your desires away. Think of desperation as emotional quicksand. The more you struggle and fight for what you want, the deeper you sink into the feeling of not having it. The magnetic power of gratitude. Gratitude is one of the most powerful emotions for manifestation because it places you in the vibration of already having received. When you feel genuinely grateful, you're acknowledging abundance in your life, which naturally attracts more abundance. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's present, creating an energetic state of fulfillment that the universe responds to by bringing more experiences worthy of gratitude. This is why people who practice daily gratitude often report sudden improvements in their circumstances. They've tuned into the frequency of abundance through appreciation. Joy, the ultimate manifestation accelerator. Joy is the highest vibrational emotion you can maintain for manifestation. When you feel joyful, you're in perfect alignment with the creative force of the universe. Joy doesn't require external circumstances to exist. It's an internal state of being that attracts joyful experiences. People who manifest quickly often report that their biggest breakthroughs came when they stopped forcing outcomes and simply focused on feeling good. This is because joy removes all resistance and allows the universe to deliver in the most effortless way possible, building unshakable self-worth. Self-worth is the foundation upon which all successful manifestation is built. If you don't believe you deserve what you're asking for, you'll unconsciously sabotage your own success. Self-worth isn't about arrogance or superiority. It's about recognizing your inherent value as a human being. When you feel worthy, you naturally expect good things to happen to you, which creates the energetic conditions for them to manifest. Building self-worth requires consistent self-compassion, celebrating small wins, and treating yourself with the same kindness you'd show a dear friend. The emotional preparation process. Before you can attract what you want, you must prepare emotionally to receive it. This means cultivating the feelings you would have if your desire were already fulfilled. If you want financial abundance, you must learn to feel abundant even with your current resources. If you want a loving relationship, you must first feel lovable and loving toward yourself. This emotional preparation isn't about pretending or forcing false positivity. It's about genuinely shifting your internal state to match your desired external reality. Understanding emotional resistance. Resistance shows up as any emotion that feels heavy, contracted, or negative when you think about your desires. Common forms of resistance include doubt, fear, unworthiness, impatience, and frustration. These emotions create energetic blocks that prevent manifestation. The key isn't to suppress resistance, but to acknowledge it and gently shift toward more positive emotions. Often, resistance carries important information about limiting beliefs that need to be addressed before manifestation can occur. The art of emotional flexibility. Successful manifestation requires emotional flexibility, the ability to consciously choose your emotional state regardless of external circumstances. This doesn't mean ignoring reality or bypassing negative emotions, but rather developing the skill to navigate challenging situations while maintaining your vibrational alignment. Emotional flexibility comes from understanding that your emotions are not facts, but temporary experiences that you can influence through awareness and practice. Transforming negative emotions into manifestation fuel. Rather than viewing negative emotions as obstacles to manifestation, you can transform them into powerful catalysts for change. Anger can become motivation, fear can become excitement, and sadness can become compassion. The key is to feel the emotion fully without judgment, then consciously choose to shift toward a more empowering emotional state. This process of emotional alchemy turns your challenges into stepping stones toward your desires. The ripple effect of emotional alignment. When you consistently maintain positive emotional states, you create a ripple effect that extends far beyond your personal manifestation. Your elevated emotions influence everyone around you, creating a field of positive energy that attracts like-minded people and opportunities. This is why people often report that their relationships improve, their career advances, and their overall life satisfaction increases when they focus on their emotional well-being. Practical techniques for emotional mastery. Developing emotional mastery requires daily practice and patience. Start each morning by consciously choosing how you want to feel, regardless of your circumstances. Use visualization not just to see your desires, but to feel them as already accomplished. Practice emotional pivoting. When you notice yourself in a negative emotional state, gently shift by focusing on something that brings you joy or gratitude. Keep an emotional journal to track patterns and celebrate progress in your emotional development. The patience of emotional manifestation. Manifestation through emotion requires patience because emotional patterns take time to shift. Your current reality reflects your past emotional states, so it may take weeks or months for your new emotional patterns to manifest as external changes. Trust the process and focus on maintaining your desired emotional state rather than forcing outcomes. Remember that every moment you spend in positive emotion is building momentum toward your manifestation, even if you can't see immediate results. Creating your emotional manifestation practice. Design a daily practice that supports your emotional alignment. This might include meditation, gratitude journaling, visualization, or simply taking time to appreciate beautiful moments throughout your day. The key is consistency. Even 5 minutes daily of intentional emotional cultivation is more powerful than sporadic longer sessions. Your practice should feel nourishing and sustainable, not like another item on your to-do list. The magnetism of authentic emotion. The most powerful manifestation occurs when your emotions are authentic rather than manufactured. Fake positivity or forced gratitude actually creates resistance because you're not being honest with yourself. Instead, work with your authentic emotions and gently guide them toward more positive states. If you're feeling sad, honor that sadness while also looking for small reasons to feel hopeful. Authenticity creates trust with the universe, which accelerates manifestation. Living as an emotional magnet. Once you understand that emotion is the magnet, you begin to live differently. You pay attention to how you feel throughout the day and make conscious choices to maintain positive emotional states. You become selective about the media you consume, the people you spend time with, and the thoughts you entertain. You realize that your emotional state is your most valuable asset in creating the life you desire. The transformation complete. As you master the art of emotional manifestation, you'll notice that your life begins to flow more effortlessly. Opportunities appear with perfect timing. Relationships become more harmonious, and challenges resolve more quickly. This isn't magic. It's the natural result of aligning your emotional frequency with your desires. You become a living magnet for everything you've been wanting to experience, simply by mastering the emotions that create your reality. Remember, emotion is not just part of the manifestation process. It is the manifestation process. Master your emotions, and you master your ability to create the life of your dreams. Chapter 3. The Mirror of Reality. The universe operates as a vast, intelligent mirror, reflecting back to you the precise energy, thoughts, and beliefs you consistently hold within your consciousness. This is not a metaphor or spiritual platitude, but a fundamental principle that governs how reality shapes itself around your inner world. Every external circumstance, every person who enters your life, every challenge you face, and every opportunity that presents itself is a direct reflection of the vibrational frequency you emit through your thoughts, emotions, and deeply held beliefs. Understanding this mirror principle transforms your entire relationship with life itself. Rather than seeing yourself as a victim of random circumstances or external forces beyond your control, you begin to recognize that you are the primary architect of your reality. The world around you becomes a feedback system, constantly providing information about what you're creating from within. When you truly grasp this concept, you realize that changing your external world requires first changing your internal world. Your thoughts, beliefs, and emotional patterns that have been operating beneath the surface of your conscious awareness. The mirror of reality operates through 3 primary channels: signs, synchronicities, and what most people dismiss as mere coincidences. These are not random occurrences, but rather the universe's way of communicating with you, providing feedback about your current vibrational state and the direction your life is heading. Signs appear as repeated numbers, symbols, or phrases that seem to follow you throughout your day. Perhaps you keep seeing the same time on clocks, or a particular word keeps appearing in conversations, books, and advertisements. These signs are the universe's way of getting your attention, alerting you to pay closer attention to your thoughts and feelings in those moments. Synchronicities represent a higher level of communication from the universe, manifesting as meaningful coincidences that seem too perfect to be random. You might think of an old friend and then receive a call from them within hours, or you might need a specific piece of information and overhear a conversation that provides exactly what you need. These synchronicities occur when your inner world is aligned with the flow of universal energy, indicating that you're moving in harmony with your desires and purpose. The more aligned you become with your authentic self and true desires, the more frequently these synchronicities will appear in your life. What most people label as coincidences are actually the universe's subtle way of confirming that your thoughts and beliefs are manifesting in physical reality. When you begin to pay attention to these apparent coincidences, you'll discover patterns that reveal the direct connection between your inner world and external experiences. The person who consistently worries about money will find themselves surrounded by conversations about financial struggles, news about economic problems, and situations that reinforce their scarcity mindset. Conversely, the person who maintains a prosperous mindset will encounter opportunities, helpful people, and circumstances that support their abundance-focused beliefs. Your emotional state serves as the primary indicator of what you're attracting into your life. The mirror of reality reflects your emotions back to you through the quality of your experiences. When you consistently feel grateful, joyful, and optimistic, you'll find that people treat you more kindly. Opportunities seem to appear more frequently, and even challenging situations resolve more easily. This isn't because the external world has changed, but because your inner state has shifted the vibrational frequency you're broadcasting, causing the universe to mirror back experiences that match this higher frequency. The people who appear in your life are perhaps the most accurate reflection of your inner world. They mirror back to you aspects of yourself that you may not be consciously aware of. The person who irritates you most likely represents a disowned part of yourself that you've been trying to suppress or deny. The person you admire most reflects qualities that exist within you, but may not be fully expressed. This doesn't mean that every person in your life is a direct reflection of your personality, but rather that your beliefs about yourself and others determine the type of people you attract and the nature of your relationships with them. Understanding the mirror principle allows you to use your external circumstances as a diagnostic tool for your inner world. If you're consistently attracting chaotic situations, this reflects an inner state of confusion or scattered energy. If you're attracting controlling people, this may indicate that you either have control issues yourself or believe you're powerless and need others to make decisions for you. If you're attracting abundant opportunities, this reflects an inner state of confidence, worthiness, and positive expectation. By honestly examining your external circumstances, you can identify the beliefs and thought patterns that need to be shifted to create different results. The timing of events in your life also serves as feedback from the universe's mirror. When you're in alignment with your true desires and authentic self, things tend to flow smoothly and opportunities arise with perfect timing. When you're forcing outcomes or operating from fear and limitation, you'll encounter obstacles, delays, and frustrating timing. This isn't the universe punishing you, but rather providing feedback that your current approach or mindset needs adjustment. Learning to read these timing signals helps you navigate life with greater ease and effectiveness. Physical symptoms and health issues often reflect the state of your inner world through the mirror of reality. Chronic stress, anxiety, and negative thinking patterns can manifest as physical ailments that force you to pay attention to your mental and emotional state. The person who feels unsupported in life might develop back problems, while someone who's afraid to speak their truth might experience throat issues. This mind-body connection demonstrates how thoroughly your inner world influences your physical experience through the mirror principle. Your financial situation provides one of the clearest reflections of your inner beliefs about worthiness, abundance, and your relationship with money. The mirror of reality responds to your deepest beliefs about money, not just your conscious desires for it. If you consciously want more money, but subconsciously believe that money is evil, corrupting, or that you don't deserve it, the mirror will reflect back experiences that confirm these limiting beliefs. This is why simply wanting more money isn't enough. You must first examine and transform your underlying beliefs about wealth, success, and your own worthiness to receive abundance. The quality of your relationships mirrors your relationship with yourself more accurately than any other aspect of your life. If you struggle with self-acceptance, you'll attract people who are critical or who don't fully appreciate you. If you don't trust yourself, you'll attract untrustworthy people. If you don't love yourself unconditionally, you'll attract conditional love from others. This principle works in reverse as well. As you develop a more loving, accepting relationship with yourself, you'll begin to attract people who treat you with the same love and respect you're showing yourself. Career and professional experiences serve as a mirror for your beliefs about your abilities, your value in the world, and your purpose. If you believe you're meant for something greater, but feel stuck in an unfulfilling job, the mirror of reality will continue to reflect back situations that match your inner conflict until you resolve it. This might manifest as feeling undervalued at work, experiencing conflicts with supervisors, or feeling generally dissatisfied with your professional life. The universe is essentially showing you that your external circumstances don't match your inner vision, prompting you to take action to align them. Learning to read the mirror of reality requires developing a new level of self-awareness and honesty. You must be willing to look at your life circumstances without judgment and ask, what is this reflecting back to me about my inner world? This isn't about blaming yourself for negative experiences, but rather about empowering yourself to create positive change by understanding the connection between your inner and outer worlds. When you can see your life as a mirror, you gain the power to consciously reshape that reflection by changing what you're projecting from within. The mirror principle also explains why positive thinking alone isn't enough to create lasting change. If you're trying to think positive thoughts while holding deep beliefs of unworthiness or limitation, the mirror will reflect back mixed results that match your conflicted inner state. True transformation requires going deeper than surface thoughts to examine and shift the core beliefs that shape your reality. This is why inner work, examining your beliefs, healing past wounds, and developing genuine self-love is essential for creating lasting positive change in your external circumstances. As you become more skilled at reading the mirror of reality, you'll begin to notice patterns that reveal the specific beliefs and thought patterns that are creating your current experiences. You might notice that every time you doubt yourself, you encounter people who question your abilities. Or you might observe that when you feel grateful and abundant, unexpected money or opportunities appear. These patterns become your personal guidebook for understanding how your inner world influences your external reality. The mirror of reality is always perfect, even when it's reflecting back experiences you don't want. This perfection lies in its accuracy. It's showing you exactly what you need to see to understand your current vibrational state and what needs to shift for you to create different results. When you can appreciate the mirror's perfection, even in challenging times, you transform from being a victim of circumstances to being a conscious creator of your reality. The ultimate goal of understanding the mirror principle is to reach a state where you're consciously and consistently projecting the inner qualities that create the external life you desire. This means cultivating genuine feelings of love, gratitude, abundance, and joy not as a technique to get what you want, but as a natural expression of who you truly are. When your inner world is aligned with your authentic self and highest aspirations, the mirror of reality reflects back a life that exceeds your wildest dreams, not because you're manipulating the universe, but because you become the person who naturally attracts and creates such experiences. This understanding transforms your entire approach to life. Instead of trying to force external changes, you focus on becoming the person who would naturally attract the experiences you desire. Instead of reacting to circumstances, you recognize them as feedback and adjust your inner state accordingly. Instead of feeling powerless, you embrace your role as the conscious creator of your reality. The mirror of reality becomes not just a principle to understand, but a powerful tool for transformation that allows you to consciously participate in the creation of your life experience. Through consistent practice of reading the mirror and adjusting your inner world accordingly, you develop what might be called reality literacy, the ability to understand the language through which the universe communicates with you. This literacy empowers you to navigate life with greater wisdom, creativity, and effectiveness, knowing that you have the power to influence your external circumstances by consciously choosing the thoughts, beliefs, and emotions you consistently maintain within your inner world. Chapter 4. Receiving without resistance. The universe is constantly conspiring to deliver your deepest desires. Yet most people stand in their own way, creating invisible barriers that block the very blessings they've been asking for. This phenomenon isn't a cruel joke of fate. It's a predictable pattern rooted in our conditioning, fears, and misunderstanding of how receiving actually works. The art of receiving without resistance is perhaps the most crucial skill in mastering the law of attraction. It's the one most people struggle with the most. Understanding why we resist our good requires us to examine the deep-seated beliefs that govern our subconscious mind. From childhood, we're taught that we must earn everything, that nothing comes for free, and that if something seems too good to be true, it probably is. These beliefs create a fundamental conflict within us. While our conscious mind desperately wants success, love, and abundance, our subconscious mind fights against receiving them because it doesn't feel right or deserved. This internal battle manifests as self-sabotage, missed opportunities, and a persistent feeling that happiness is always just out of reach. The first step in overcoming this resistance is recognizing that receiving is not about being passive or entitled. It's about being in alignment with the natural flow of the universe. Think of a river flowing toward the ocean. The river doesn't struggle or force its way. It simply follows the path of least resistance, naturally moving toward its destination. Similarly, when we're in alignment with our desires, opportunities, resources, and synchronicities flow toward us with an almost effortless quality. The key is learning to recognize this flow and position ourselves to receive it. One of the most common forms of resistance is what I call worthiness blocks, the deep-seated belief that we don't deserve the good things we're asking for. This belief often stems from childhood experiences where love was conditional, where we learned that we had to be good enough to receive attention, affection, or rewards. As adults, we carry these patterns into our relationship with abundance, unconsciously creating tests and obstacles that we must overcome before we'll allow ourselves to receive. The irony is that the universe doesn't operate on a system of worthiness. It operates on a system of alignment and allowance. To dissolve worthiness blocks, we must first understand that your desires themselves are evidence of your worthiness to receive them. The universe doesn't plant seeds of desire in hearts that aren't meant to see them bloom. If you can dream it, if you can feel it calling to you, if it ignites something within you, then you're already worthy of it. The desire itself is the universe's way of saying, this is meant for you. Your job is not to prove your worthiness through struggle and sacrifice, but to align your energy with the frequency of already having what you desire. Another major form of resistance comes from our addiction to control and our fear of uncertainty. Many people sabotage their manifestations because they can't see the how of their desires coming to fruition. They want to control the timing, the method, the circumstances. Essentially, they want to be the universe's project manager. This need for control actually blocks the very flow they're trying to create. The universe operates on a much grander scale than our limited perspective can comprehend, with access to infinite possibilities and pathways that we can't even imagine. Learning to let go of control doesn't mean becoming passive or giving up on your goals. Instead, it means becoming what I call strategically surrendered, clear about what you want but flexible about how it arrives. This requires developing a deep trust in the intelligence of the universe and understanding that divine timing is always perfect, even when it doesn't align with our human timeline. The universe sees the bigger picture, knows about obstacles and opportunities we can't see, and orchestrates events in ways that serve our highest good. The concept of divine timing is crucial to understand because it's often the source of our greatest resistance. We live in a culture of instant gratification, where we expect everything to happen on demand. When our manifestations don't arrive according to our schedule, we interpret this as failure or evidence that the law of attraction doesn't work. But divine timing isn't about delay. It's about perfect orchestration. Sometimes what we think we want right now would actually be detrimental to our long-term happiness. Sometimes we need to grow, learn, or heal before we're ready to receive what we've asked for. Consider the story of a woman who desperately wanted to find her soulmate. She tried everything, dating apps, social events, even hiring a matchmaker, but nothing worked. Frustrated and feeling like the universe was ignoring her, she finally decided to focus on herself instead. She started traveling, pursuing hobbies, building her career, and healing old wounds. 2 years later, she met her future husband in the most unexpected place, a bookstore in a foreign country while she was on a solo trip. Looking back, she realized that she needed those 2 years to become the person who could recognize and receive her soulmate. The timing wasn't delayed, it was perfect. Sometimes, the biggest obstacle to receiving is our attachment to how our desires should manifest. We create detailed pictures in our minds of exactly how our perfect life should look, and then we reject anything that doesn't match this picture. This attachment to form can cause us to miss opportunities that might be even better than what we originally envisioned. The universe often has grander plans for us than we have for ourselves, but we have to be willing to remain open to possibilities we hadn't considered. This openness requires what I call outcome independence, being clear about what you want to feel and experience, but flexible about the specific form it takes. For example, instead of being attached to a specific job title at a specific company, you might focus on the feeling of doing meaningful work that utilizes your talents and provide financial security. This approach allows the universe to surprise you with opportunities that exceed your expectations. The concept of better or something better is crucial here. When you make requests to the universe, always add the phrase "this or something better" to your prayers, affirmations, or visualizations. This simple addition prevents you from limiting the universe's ability to deliver something beyond your current imagination. It's a declaration of trust that the universe knows what's best for you and has access to possibilities you can't even conceive of. Fear is perhaps the most persistent form of resistance, and it often intensifies right before a major breakthrough. Fear of success, fear of failure, fear of change, fear of being seen. These fears can create such strong resistance that they literally repel our desires. The key to working with fear is not to eliminate it, which is impossible, but to acknowledge it and move forward anyway. Fear is often a sign that you're about to expand beyond your comfort zone, which is exactly where growth and manifestation happen. One effective technique for working with fear is to dialogue with it. Instead of trying to push fear away or pretend it doesn't exist, you can ask it what it's trying to protect you from. Often, fear is an outdated protection mechanism that served you in the past but is no longer relevant. For example, the fear of being successful might stem from a childhood experience where being too good at something resulted in jealousy or rejection from peers. By acknowledging this fear and updating your understanding of success, you can begin to dissolve its power over you. The practice of acting as if is another powerful tool for overcoming resistance. This doesn't mean pretending you already have what you want or living beyond your means. Instead, it means embodying the energy and mindset of the person who already has what you desire. How would that person think, feel, and act? What decisions would they make? What would they focus on? By stepping into this energy, you align yourself with the frequency of your desires and make it easier for them to manifest. Self-sabotage is often the final test before a major manifestation. Just as you're about to receive what you've been asking for, your ego mind might panic and create situations that push your desires away. This might look like picking fights with loved ones, making poor financial decisions, or suddenly becoming convinced that you don't really want what you've been working toward. Recognizing self-sabotage patterns is crucial because they often happen unconsciously. Common self-sabotage patterns include perfectionism, nothing is ever good enough, procrastination, putting off important actions, people-pleasing, giving away your power to others, and creating drama, generating chaos to avoid dealing with success. If you notice these patterns emerging, it's often a sign that you're closer to your manifestation than you realize. The key is to breathe, center yourself, and remember that growth often feels uncomfortable. The role of community and support cannot be underestimated in the receiving process. Surrounding yourself with people who believe in your dreams and support your growth creates an energetic field that makes manifestation easier. Conversely, spending time with people who are negative, doubtful, or envious of your success can create resistance that blocks your good. This doesn't mean you need to cut off everyone who isn't completely positive, but it does mean being mindful of the energy you're absorbing from others. Creating boundaries is an essential part of maintaining your receiving capacity. This might mean limiting your exposure to negative media, setting limits on how much time you spend with energy-draining people, or creating sacred spaces in your life where you can connect with your desires without external interference. Boundaries aren't walls. They're filters that allow positive energy to flow while keeping negative energy at bay. The practice of receiving also extends to small, everyday experiences. Many people who struggle with receiving big things also struggle with receiving small things. They can't accept compliments. They refuse help when it's offered. They feel guilty about resting or enjoying themselves. These small resistances create a pattern that affects your ability to receive on all levels. Practice receiving in small ways. Accept compliments gracefully. Allow someone to pay for your coffee. Take time to enjoy a sunset without feeling guilty. Physical practices can also support your ability to receive. Yoga, meditation, breath work, and other embodiment practices help you become more comfortable with the feeling of expansion and flow. These practices also help you stay present and aware, which is crucial for recognizing opportunities when they arise. When you're stressed, anxious, or stuck in mental loops, you're less likely to notice the signs and synchronicities that guide you toward your desires. The art of receiving is ultimately about trust. Trust in yourself, trust in the universe, and trust in the process. This trust isn't blind faith. It's a deep knowing that comes from experience and practice. Each time you successfully receive something you've asked for, your trust grows stronger. Each time you notice a sign or synchronicity, your connection to the universal flow deepens. Each time you choose love over fear, you expand your capacity for receiving. As you develop your receiving abilities, you'll notice that life becomes more magical and effortless. Opportunities will appear at the perfect time, resources will show up when you need them, and people will enter your life to support your dreams. This isn't because you're lucky or special. It's because you've learned to align yourself with a natural flow of abundance that's always available to everyone. The final secret of receiving without resistance is understanding that you are not separate from the universe. You are an expression of it. The universe is not some external force that you need to petition or convince. You are a localized expression of universal consciousness, and your desires are the universe's way of expanding and experiencing itself through you. When you truly understand this, receiving becomes as natural as breathing, and resistance dissolves like morning mist in the sun. Remember that mastering the art of receiving is a lifelong journey, not a destination. There will be times when you fall back into old patterns of resistance, and that's perfectly normal. The key is to approach yourself with compassion and curiosity rather than judgment. Each experience of resistance is an opportunity to understand yourself more deeply and to choose a more aligned response. Your desires are not selfish or superficial. They're sacred calls from your soul, invitations to expand into greater versions of yourself. When you receive what you've asked for, you're not taking from others. You're demonstrating what's possible and inspiring others to claim their own abundance. The universe is infinitely abundant, and there's more than enough for everyone to have everything they truly desire. As you close this chapter and continue your journey with the law of attraction, remember that you're already worthy of everything you desire. Your worth is not determined by your actions, achievements, or circumstances. It's inherent in your very existence. The universe is waiting to shower you with blessings, but it can only give you what you're willing to receive. Open your heart, trust the process, and allow yourself to receive the magnificent life that's waiting for you. I hope this taught you something today. Dr. Julian Vance has been with you all the way. You see, the law of attraction isn't just about dreaming or hoping. It's about tuning your inner frequency to match the life you want. What you think every day becomes who you are. What you feel pulls the future into your hands. Most people ask for success, but vibrate with doubt. They pray for love while fearing rejection. But this book teaches you how to shift that energy. It reveals how your mind, your heart, and your belief systems must align, not just to attract what you want, but to become what you seek. Whether it's money, peace, relationships, or purpose, this is the map to get there. And it all starts inside. Dr. Julian Vance, always with you. Keep listening. Keep growing. Because who stops reading, stops growing.